a good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, for good and good people of the tube. Hope today, hope you're feeling grand, and all's well in your world. Hello there, everybody. First things first, I do apologise about the sounds of construction that you'll hear in this video and the upcoming videos. Like I say, at this point in time, there is some renovations going on to the house, so it just can't be avoided. So, but anyway, so I just thought I'd get it in there first. So, second thing, let's get on to today's video. So today's vid, people of YouTube, we're going to be talking about how I create ambient backing tracks, and hopefully this will give you some ideas for your own kind of thing, for your own ambient backing tracks. I love ambient backing tracks. I love slow, thoughtful pieces of music. I do love fast, kind of like rocky stuff, but when I'm playing on my own, like just in a room like this or anything like that, I'm not the biggest fan of just kind of like, blasting it out. That's the trio's job. That's not my job here. And that's not where I am right now with music. It's not where music wants me to be either on these videos. In a week's time or a month's time or a year's time or 2 years' time or whatever, I don't know. That could change very, very easily. But I do love creating ambient kind of backing tracks. So I'm going to talk through some things that I use today. I'm going to talk about the effects I use, how I use them, what I do. I'm not going to use the Mel 9 today just because these pedals seem to be ridiculously hard to come by. I don't really know why, but again, it took me a long time to get this one, and they are really hard to come by. So I'm going to use everything but the Mel 9, and I'll show you what I use to kind of simulate some of the things I would have on the Mel 9, like the orchestra, the choir, because I basically use this pedal basically all the time now. I probably overdo it, but I don't think that's possible because this pedal is gorgeous. But I won't use it today. I'll just use other effects to kind of get around it, just so people who don't have one of these can hopefully give you some ideas, if that makes any sense. So without further ado, people of tube, ambience. First thing for ambient backing tracks, I think the main thing is lots of reverb. So we're going through the orange Super Crush today, which is off camera. It's up here. And I'm actually going to turn the reverb up. The reverb on the Super Crush is just heavenly. So that's the reverb. It is amazing, I've got to say. I mean, compared to the CR's reverb, the CR 120's got 3 different reverbs, whereas the Super Crush has only got 1, which I feel is a little bit of a downgrade. I feel that's a bit of a cop-out in a way. But the reverb in the Super Crush is gorgeous. Is it better than the CR 120? It's neither here nor there. It is what it is, let's put it that way. But it is a gorgeous reverb, as are the reverbs in the CR. Anyway, neither here nor there. Get on with the soundtrack. So that's the first thing I start with. Is a lot of reverb, and again, that just helps me put my brain in the mind space of what I want, not the my space, the mind space of what I want, which again is ambient. I want the space. I want it to be kind of floaty and just really a lot of space for me to be able to kind of like express and play with, if that makes any sense. Another thing I will add quite a lot of the time is a beat. So one of the things I really like for ambience, again, you don't have to have a drum beat, and I'm going to make a backing track without a drum beat. This is just an example. One of the drum beats I really, really love for ambient stuff is something like an electro beat with a really slow tempo. So I'm going to use the Boss RC10 here, the RC10R. And there's this one electro beat, which I'm sure you've heard a lot of me use a lot, and it's this one. And again, it's just very calm, very relaxed. And again, if you want to kind of add kind of chords over top of this, it works really well. Again, it wants to breathe. It's all about it breathing ambient backing tracks. You don't want it to be that. It needs to be really chilled. Yeah, something like that. So, again, I'm not going to use the drums today, again, because not everyone's got a looper with a drum machine on it. I just kind of want to keep it very simple today. So, but that's for something I do enjoy doing. But again, ambient backing tracks without drums are nice as well. I mean, I love just having like floaty chord progressions with no real necessarily no beat to it, if that makes any sense. Again, it's all about it breathing, and it's got to float almost in a way, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So another thing I will add to guitar a lot of the time, apart from reverb, is the delay, and it's very mild delay. So that's my kind of like solo delay, and again, it just helps to add a little bit more ambience. With. You can just hear it's just a little bit more. And I also, on my zoom pedal here, I have more reverb if I want it. So on the expression pedal, if I push that all the way forward, I get even more reverb. That sound alone, I could get lost in that sound for hours. I mean, that's very ambient. There's a lot of space in there. At this point in time, the amp's very, very quiet, so it's kind of not really kind of pushing out a lot there, but it's still very inspiring, very, very ambient, very, very nice. So I kind of have a chord progression. It just came out there. I don't really know where it comes from, but it did. So it's just inspired by that thing. So what I would do then is I would record the backing track to this. So I would record this thingy, and then we'll start layering it to YouTube. So the chords I'm using: C major, G major, A minor, and F major. Gorgeous chord progression. And again, simple is sometimes, I like simple. I don't think sometimes that's the better way to go. It's cool to use kind of like, you can use kind of crazy chords. But for me, when I'm doing kind of something ambient, I want it to be simple. I don't want the backing track to be complexly voiced, if that makes any sense. I want it to be fairly simple and straightforward, so the melodies that I create over the top are they kind of finish it, if that makes any sense. So like if you got like a C major chord, you can play. There's a lot kind of going on there. That's enough, I want the melodies to stick out more than basically the room track. The room track is there. It's just that is the bed, if that makes any sense, for it to lie on. And then the melodies sit over top of it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to stand up and we're going to record this chord progression, and then we'll basically, once we've recorded that, we'll start adding to it even more people with YouTube. So hopefully you'll be able to hear me, because I'm about to stand up and disappear off camera, and all you'll see is my legs. So let's go. So we have a chord progression. Let's record that first. This guitar's too high. Let's put that down. There we go. Move that lead out of the way. So got the mass reverb, got delay, reverb from the amp, and it's just basically golden plex at this point in time, giving me that kind of dirty clean. Again, just a nice sound. And again, I don't want to be too fast with this. It needs to be nice and relaxed and slow. We don't want a crazy tempo. So what I invariably do before I start the looper is I play through it once. And also what this helps do is it gives me the tails. If I just start playing now, the delay will start after I play and the reverb will start after I play. And sometimes when you press to stop the loop and start, press to start the loop again, that can kind of create like a jump. It kind of jumps back in. Whereas if you play through the progression once, the delays and the reverb are already going and it creates a smoother transition. So we'll play through it once and then we'll trigger the looper. Let the loop cycle and make sure the transition at the end, back round, is actually neat and tidy. So I want everything to overlap properly. Yep. So that's that. So I'll come back down now. I come back down here now, people tube, and I can talk about the rest. I don't have a great deal of space here, so I have my leg on my wah-wah pedal. So now I have the basic kind of ambient backing track I've got there. There's no drums. I'm not going to use drums. I'm going to use the Mel. What I would do now is I'll start kind of like building it up. So next thing I would probably do is add like a bass line. So what I would do to maybe add a bass line is to go for my long delay here, which gives me the ability to do volume swells. And it sounds like a cello. And because I did the F major up here in this high octave, there's no low F. So I can do that now with the bass note. So I can record that, so I can get the backing track going again. I'll let it cycle before I join in. So set it to overdub. And again, just play very simple, long, sustained notes, nothing crazy. The delay's got the sustain. And it just blends in. And here comes the low F that I was on about. So now we've got a bass line. Very simple, it just blends in. There's nothing crazy going on there at all. F with its weird intonation problems. So another thing that I'd do here as well is I'd build up the bass line and maybe, I'm just going to check the tune on the guitar, I'll stop that. Yeah, we're okay, we're good. I just wanted to make sure. So I've got the guitar tuned down to E flat as well, people do. So if it sounds a bit weird, that's why the guitar's actually in E flat. So this is another thing I really like to do, is to build on the bass line, is add in the major or minor thirds. So on the C it'll be a major third, on the G it'll be a major third, on the A it'll be a minor third, and on the F it'll be a major third. So it'll give this sound. Instead of just that. So we're going to overdub again, mass reverb, long delay, with with the backing track. We're going to overdub that third, the major third and the minor third, and it'll just fatten out the backing, just add extra melody. So we'll set out to overdub now and get ready. Quite like that. Major third, major third, minor third on the A. Even more dissonance, quite like that. And then that's that. So now we've got a bass line, we've got the rhythm track. We're getting there. Again, this is how I would build an ambient track. And again, so now I want to do something that simulates strings, like an orchestra kind of thing. So what I would do is I'd go to my chorus patch on the Zoom, which is just this. Let me just turn everything. It gives me that kind of like C1 kind of John thing. Crank up the reverb, put the long delay back on, and again I can now do like, you know, it sounds like pseudo strings. So, and then what I'd do with these is I'd build them up in octaves. So I'd probably do one down here, and I'd probably do the low ones just in triads. I probably won't add a bass note because I don't need to. The bass has done that. I've got the bass part. So it'll be like a C major triad, G major triad, A minor triad, and I'll probably do like this F major triad here. And then what I'll do is I'll basically move it down the line. So then I'll go C there, G there, A minor, F there. Keep moving it up, and gradually build up these layers of basically like pseudo strings, fake orchestra, if you will. And it should add quite nice ambience. And again, I'm doing this all on the volume control because I need control over the levels. I very, very rarely have volume cranked when I do this. I don't really go from 0 to 10. It's very rare I do that. It normally goes from like 0 to about 8 on the volume control, or even 6, you know, depending on what I need it to do. Yeah, that's just 6 there. So I never really crank the volume control unless I really need to. And again, it's all about listening to what you're playing and having it react with the backing track properly. So now what we're going to get backing track going again, and we'll add in this pseudo string kind of pad sound. So we'll set out to overdub, chorus, long delay, all the volume control, triads first on the low octave, and we'll gradually build them up all the way down. So this is low octave first. Back off the volume immediately. So I'm only going to 4 there on the volume control. So that's 1 octave, second octave. a nice kind of slow picked guitar. So do something like this. That one there, what I'm doing there in that picky one is I've got the volume on 10 on the guitar and I'm just basically lightly picking. Again, it's all about volume control. You know, you've got to keep the layers really balanced, and you can do that all from your guitar. You know, volume control is everything. It really is. So now we've got an ambient backing track, People Tube. There you go. Sound going on. You've got all these octaves on that. You've got the bass going. You've got like a backing. You've got this kind of picky thing. It doesn't really need any more than that. Another thing we can do is actually crank the reverb on it out. So it's on 10 now. So we got a backing track. So what I'll do now is I want to be able to obviously play over that and be able to express. So I'm going to address something that people say a lot. People ask this question a lot of people saying, well, when I set a loop going, my distortion is too loud. So I know exactly where you are, because again I had that thing. What I tend to do though is I use my governor. Because for instance, like if I try and play along to this backing track with, say, the Golden Plex in the DS2, it might be okay volume wise. I don't think it will. Well, just drop it much. It does seem it's a bit dominant over it. So what I tend to do is I use the governor and I turn the volume down. The master volume on the pedal down, and basically I'll use the DS2 and the governor because I like solos to flow over these things. I don't necessarily particularly like clean solos, and if I do need to do clean on this, I've got the Golden Plexi, which will just work fine. But again, when I want to kind of like go over the top, so to say, is I will kick on both of these. So I've got loads of sustain, loads of gain, and just basically have like the governor set to the right level. So what I'll do is I'll turn the volume down to about 9 o'clock on here, turn both of them on, which will give me a hell of a noise, and then play the backing track and see how that fits. So it's too quiet, you can't hear it. Turn it on. get the solo to be in the backing track, not on it. It doesn't want to be sat on top of it, dominating it. It wants to be in it. And that seems to be where it wants to be. So I've put the volume down. I normally have the volume at 3 o'clock on the Governor. I've actually got it at 12 o'clock now. So now I've got all sorts of different kind of like textures I can pick from. I can stick with the Golden Plex and do something cleanish, or I can just use the Governor on its own and kind of go Dave Gilmour-esque, or I can whack on the Governor and the DS2 and just let it sing. You know, so I've got all that to choose from. And invariably I'll put on the solo delay as well, the slow delay. The mild delay. And sometimes I'll have the reverb cranked as well. Again, it's just however I feel, so to say. So, that's this backing track done, PeopleTube. That's it. That's how I would create an ambient backing track. Again, if you do have drums, you can add drums. If you do have like a Mel 9, you can add Mel 9. The Mel 9 is like literally fantastic pedal for ambient stuff, because you've got the choir. You know, you can have stuff like that. And also you can add in things like cellos. But in all fairness, that's the cello sound, PeopleTube. This is just the guitar volume sound. Yeah, it's a pretty good representation of it. It doesn't quite have that bowed kind of sound that the Mel does, but you know what I mean? It's got the same kind of thing. And also things like orchestra. But you can get by without that kind of thing. You can, like I say, you can do pseudo strings, chorus, long delay, neck pickup, bridge pickup, whatever you like prefer the sound of. Again, tons of reverb, tons of delay, tons of ambience, basically. That's the key. Another backing track idea that you can do is just like a drone backing track. Now, for that, what I'll do, I won't wipe this loop because... Sorry, PeopleTube, no, you choked to death on my own spit then. That's disgusting. Has anyone ever done that? It's good fun, isn't it? Anyway, so another idea for an ambient backing track is just like a drone. So... I'm going to use the Line 6 delay model looper here. So I'm going to set it up with delay. And what I'm going to do is just create one note. And just so I can play over that. So, let me stand up again. Oh, my legs. Oh, I remember being able to stand up and not make noises. But those days are gone. And what I'll do here, PeopleTube, is I'll get a note going. So say, I don't know, what, B. Like a note like that. We're going to want more repeats on that. A lot of repeats. A lot of delay time. So that wants to come up as well. So this is a B note. And what I'm going to do, I want to catch it at its peak. So hit it, I want to hit it quite hard and violin the guitar, roll in the volume. So I'll catch that. And invariably you'll have a click on this, but that's okay. And then we're going to build up like a chord. So I'm going to go, I want a B minor, so I want a minor third, which will be a D. So we'll play the D. And that'll loop. Then we want a fifth, which will be an F sharp. And for good measure, I'm going to play the B again because it seems a bit weak. So now we've got this chord that's just cycling. And again, so what I can do over this is all sorts. It's very Dave Gilmour. Then delay back down. problem we'll have here is as soon as I go for distortion with it where it is at this point in time, it's probably going to drown it out. It's not too bad, but it is a bit drowny. So we'll turn the volume down on the governor. So we're down at 9 o'clock on the governor. More reverb. Do dynamics, turn it off, and go back to the gold plexi. That's craziness. Again, it's all about having it sit in the backing, not on it. I'll be tempted to turn it down even more. And you get lost on that kind of thing for hours. And that's like a drone. That's like drone ambient size. So again, all I did there is just basically build up a chord with a long delay. Just as you saw, it's very simple, but very, very effective and extremely nice just to play over. Just hours of ambient fun there, people do. So this is kind of like the two ways I would go about creating an ambient track. There's like the drone one, which I've been doing for years. You can also do it with violin bow. I really enjoy that one. Something I discovered I could do a long time ago. I after watching Robert Fripp, actually, I was watching this King Crimson gig, and Robert was doing this kind of like soundscapey thing at the beginning. And I was like, well, how can I simulate that? How can I do that? So I sat down with my board and I was like thinking, well, if I have a long delay and I just capture that one note at the peak of the volume swell, so burnt there, and capture it for like maybe a second or two, I can then build that chord up and create a pad sound, and just let that just go crazy. And also with the Line 6 delay mod, I found out I could send it backwards, so it pulses the other way. So if I get bored of it pulsing one way, I can send it backwards, let it pulse the other way, or slow it down. Speed it up. So I can mess with it however I wish. I can't do that with the RC10. But again, that's why I love having two. I'm greedy. But yeah, so that's it, PeopleTube. I can't think if there's anything else to say. Like I say, it's all about just creating that ambience, and again, to have your guitar sit in the backing track, not on it. And again, I always use like for instance there, I had the volume on 8 o'clock on the governor. So on its own, that's my clean tone. This is how quiet the governor was. So it's not got a lot of volume, but it sits in the backing. Like I say, with both of these on, it doesn't sit on it. So if I was to turn that back up now, it's going to get dominant. If I put it back to where I normally have it, can't hear the backing anymore, it's gone. But turning it back down, it's back in there, it's not sat on it. Again, I could literally sit there for hours doing that. So, hopefully that's been somewhat enlightening. As usual, PeopleTuber fears here to stay and saying, "You've ruined this, Dave. This is an awful video. You haven't explained anything and no one will understand you and your big pile of moo." Whatever that is. Big pile of cow. Anyway, hopefully, though, it's okay and it has made some kind of sense. So basically now what I'm going to do, PeopleTuber, I'm going to play out the backing track I made earlier on, and hopefully this might, hopefully this will, give you some ideas of to go away and make your own and mess around. I do feel that in this day and age, the looper is one of the number one effects you need as a guitarist. It's just the ultimate when it comes down to as a jamming tool, if you will. It's just one of those things you really need to have and to get to grips with as well. I think they're really important to kind of to play around with. So I'm just going to play out now, PeopleTube. Thank you very much for watching. I'd like to thank viewer Simon for this guitar. He very, very kindly sent me this guitar as a gift, and it's very, very nice. It's like a Squire. I think it's an Affinity. It's really skinny. It's got the big headstock. It's not a Fender. It is a Squire. But it's very nice. The neck on this is fantastic. The pickups are a little bit brighter than I would like. Again, Affinity pickups I find to be a little bit less desirable for me, but it still sounds pretty good. I really like the sound of it. It doesn't sound as harsh as some of the Affinities. My Jimi Hendrix Affinity Strat, which I've got upstairs, its original pickups were just like treble central, no matter what you did. These are actually quite nice. They get cut. It's a very 70s sound. It's considering that's what basically it looks like. It's a very 70s kind of CBS era Strat sound. But yeah, it's a gorgeous guitar. It reminds me, it's Jimi Hendrix's, basically. It looks exactly like Jimmy's, which always makes me happy. So massive thanks to Simon, and massive thanks to all you watching. If you like the video, please consider becoming a patron at Patreon. It really keeps the channel going. Thank you so much indeed. If you are a patron on Patreon, it means the world to me. I really couldn't do this without you right now, so thank you so much indeed. Other than that, PeopleTube, let me play you out now. We'll turn the amp back up to normal volume, not deafening, but... And I'll play you out, and I'll see you again for another video very soon. Have a great morning, afternoon, and good evening, and goodbye now. Thank you for watching. I hope this was informative, and I hope there's something in it that you can take away. So I'll see you again. Have a great one. Goodbye now.